All right, guys. Welcome to the Twitch stream. Um, yeah, today we're going to be going over finalizing up this little interior scene, which has obviously come a long way since the original sketch. And yeah, there's actually not too much stuff to do now. Just kind of finalizing up some of the details, and obviously you can kind of take that as far as you want to go with things. But yeah, it's just getting in there and fleshing those things out. So yeah, I'll just do some more of that. So the main thing that I wanted to kind of work on was this little like control panel area. So I wanted to get, because I didn't really have this all kind of completely finalized. So let's just sort of make a start on that. So what do we got here? Now I've done some stuff pre-prepared. So what I've done here in Photoshop is just these are a few little like control panel like kind of references that I just had. And then in some other projects in the past, I've made up little sheets like this, kind of like control panel kind of sheets, right? So things like this, and then I use them quite often to, mix and match and create other little control panels and things. So, but you can see the original references. So it's just this kind of stuff. So I just find, little mechanical parts and interfaces and things with cable inputs and things like that, and then sort of more mechanical Sony different types of little screens and things, super easy stuff to find on the internet. And then you can kind of move that across. So the next thing what I did was I literally just did a screenshot of the front on view of this. So I made sure it's at the front, and then I just did like a screenshot of this, and then just brought that into Photoshop, and then started throwing all the little bits in here, right? And just trying to design it up and make it kind of fit the rest of the scene. So that's what I've got, and then basically what I can do is we just kind of crop this in and save it out. So save this as a JPEG. Just gonna flatten this. All right, so this is JPEG, and like I've done this before. So once again, if you're just tuning in, let me just sort this out. Yeah, if you're just tuning in for the first time, you can watch all these videos back. We've gone through like the entire process. And yeah, you can see lots of things that I've been doing from the start. So yeah, and like always, if you got any questions throughout the stream, just let me know, and I can go over stuff as much as you guys want. So I basically just exported that out, and what we're going to do is like up until now we've been making a lot of like the geo. Yes, we've done like some trim sheets, remember? So this is kind of the same like principle as the trim sheet in some regard. So what I'm going to do is tab into this bit of geometry, and basically what we want to do is we want all these faces here to have in actual fact, the way I've done this, I might even be able to, maybe, let's see. Let's just select these ones first, and we'll see where we're at with this. Hang on, I just need to go back to Photoshop. Yeah, I didn't go outside of these ones here, those like darker tones where it kind of wraps around the corner. So yeah, obviously you can kind of go through and select those little bits there. Make sure you don't have the X-ray mode on. Also, just go back to Photoshop for a second. Yep. Just making sure where I want to project things. So that's pretty good. Then what I'm going to do is do a new material here. So let's just go back into have the shader editor here as well. So let's do a new material, and let's call this one, what do I do? Make a new one first. Let's call this one control panel. Just so I know what I'm doing, because we'll probably use this a few times. All right. So I come back down here and zoom out. All right, click on this principal BSDF, Control T. That'll do the node wrangler. All right, let's bring this up here. Select open and the control panels. Open image, very good. And like nothing should change up here. That means it's all working right. And then what we want to do is this material here, we want to assign that material. So we assign that material to those faces and it's going to look a bit weird, right? And we're going to hit U on here and go project from view. All right. And then what we want to do is we want to bring up the UV editor. So we come down here to the side and bring up the UV editor. All right. And we can see how this is starting to work. So now we just need to kind of line all this up. So let's select A, S for scale, G, and because basically I've just screenshot this directly out of Blender, we should just be able to line this up, you know, pretty much perfectly. And you'll actually be surprised like how much kind of wiggle room you've got with some of this stuff, which is like pretty amazing. See, I'm actually looking at this and I'm thinking I've got this pretty spot on, right? So maybe what I can do is hang on, let's undo that. Undo. All right. So I can just see down in here that these buttons don't quite line up here. So we're just gonna A, G, just move that up a tiny bit. Right, just so those ones are just fitting a little bit better in there. Really cool. Okay, that's looking good. So yeah, now we've got these ones like all kind of UV'd onto that like little control panel. It's so cool, right? Like look how fast it is. This is awesome because you can just let's just hide these for a second. It's so cool because it just kind of like maps on there and just looks, you know, 3D instantly. Now, what you could do if you really want to, you could come in and you could kind of do like knife cuts for all of these bits. You could even add little cylinders in for the buttons and things, and you can really make all of those things like 3D if you want to. So you can extrude them, pull them out, and they'll depending on how like close up you are. So if you're looking at this thing kind of like this, you know, you might want to have it so all these bits are extruded. But because we're kind of, you know, zooming out here, we're never going to see that stuff. So we kind of don't really need it, but you could totally do that. I'll bring up, if I kind of go into here somewhere, it showed like, so in my intro to 3D course, we do kind of go over this one here. Well, let's not put it in there. Oh, let's not do that. Open with, just open it in Photoshop, hey? Yeah, so I kind of go over, you know, showing how to do this type of thing. So yeah, basically you can project on all different, you know, bits of geometry and stuff as well, right? Which is really cool. Yeah, or you can do it as like one flat piece. But yeah, basically you can get things looking, you know, really cool really quickly, right? So that's awesome. So now let's do the bottom bit. Actually, let's do the screens first because I did just once again, I'm like zoom. Does it really matter? It probably doesn't even matter, you know. Yeah, so let's do the bottom bit here. So I just want to go back to Photoshop. Just let's close that one down and just look at this here, just to see what I did there. All right, so what's going on here? Does look a little bit different there. Okay. I know what I did because I did do a little kind of panel here. Anyway, whatever. We'll just do this. Just do this top bit. All right. So let's kind of come into here. Let's toggle these like gizmos back on. All right. So yeah. Okay. I see what I'm doing here. All right. So these are all little separate bits of geo. Okay. So let's tab into this one. All right. Just make sure we're on the front mode. I was going to tab out for 1 second. Yeah, you can see how this all disappears. So actually, let's delete this bit and delete this bit because I've kind of done other stuff. And then we can kind of muck around around that. But all right, so we've got this piece here. Let's tab into that. All right, so now I'm in the front mode. I can just select over all of that, which is really cool. And then what we're going to do is we want to add in a new material, and we want it to be the control panel one. And then we're going to assign that to those faces, and then we're going to go U, project from view. All right, and then we've got our bit down here that we can see. A, S, G. We just kind of move that around. S for scale, G for move. It's for grab, but it moves. Yep, so we're just trying to get that to fit in there. All right, really cool. Okay, so we've got that bit. Then let's grab this bit, tab in, select those faces, add a material. It's the control panel material. Assign it to those faces. Hit U, project from view. All right, we should, that just projects this bit here. So A, G, S, G. You know, you can move it around, and you don't even, after a while, you don't even have to stick to the reference either. Like you could kind of do other little bits and pieces if you thought that would fit better or whatever as well. So let's tab out of that, tab into this one, tab, select those ones, U. Oh no, wrong step. Select those ones, new material, control panel, assign, U, project from view, A, G. Let's move it around, zoom in. G, line all that up. Very good. Tab out of that one, tab into this one, select all of that. New material, control panel, assign, U, project from view, find that little bit in here, A, G, S, G for move. All right, cool. Then we got that part. Now let's go back down to this bottom part. Let's tab into this. Select those faces. All right, now do we have... No, obviously don't have that in there. So new material, control panel, assign, and then we probably don't even need all of those. Anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. U, project from view, and then we just got to kind of line all this up. So A, S, G. Right, so let's try and get the bottom there. So S a little bit bigger, G. So it's something like that. The problem with this is I'm like kind of projecting some of this like back onto here. So then, you know, it's like kind of changing color, which is okay. But it's just whether we, you know, how to kind of probably design that a little bit better, right? Or, you know, we could sort of hide bits as such. So not necessarily hiding, but just trying to get that to work in, right? So what we could kind of do is the same thing that I had before. You know how I sort of had the little, I guess the little service, you know, panel on there. So we kind of do the same thing. So we just shift right click on this, shift A, mesh, cube. Let's make this lots smaller. All right. Scale this down. So like I said, we're just into all those little small details now of things. What do I do? Let's just a bit bigger. Scale down. We just want a really small little piece here. Even thinner. Just something like that. And let's go Control A. All transforms. Tab in. Control B. Oop, not too much, obviously, but something like that. Tab into that. Just a little bit of a bevel. Doesn't matter too much because it's really small. Oops. Sorry. Oh, right click, set origin. Sorry, I just stuffed that up, didn't I? Okay, better. Right. That just pops out a little bit from there. And then let's make this like a black frame. I think it would be good. Just so it's like a little kind of little almost cut line or something along here, right? Pretty cool. We can grab that, Shift D, escape. Let's go back to the front one, hit the letter R, type in 90. Oops. Undo. Did I do it? Oh. R 90. Why is that disappearing? It just is when it's in the front mode, apparently. Very useful. All right, let's just scale this up. Let's keep going. Sorry, just thinking about where we want to put this and how we want to do it. Something like that. Shift D, escape, move across over there. Go this one, Shift D, escape. This is like sort of pretty dodgy. dodgy stuff. But for how like small this stuff is, I think that it will be fine. Right. Just to make it feel like I had a border, like it's just the color's not just changing there for some sort of strange reason. So yeah, cool. So you can see how quickly you can go in and kind of make all those things look pretty complicated, right? Which is great. So, yep, like I said, just off to little details now. We want to, what do I want to do? Add. All right, Shift D, escape. Just going to move these ones up onto this bit here, I think. Oops, not that way. This way. All right, let's go back to the front mode. Oh, that's the back. All right, rotate. 90. And I want this one. Just hide those walls for a second. Like that. So just want this one up on here. I'm going to make this a bit bigger. Move it in here. Just try and rotate it onto that kind of surface there. So cool. Just something like that. Shift E, escape. I'm going to go Control M, X. Move that one over there. Very good. And then let's grab both of those. Shift D, escape. I want those ones to come out here as well. All right, pretty good. And then let's grab that, that, and that. Shift D, escape. Control J, join them. Move that out here as well. So hopefully we kind of get that in the right spot. Let's bring back the walls. Alt H, just always forever turning that fog on and off. That's all right. Cool. Yep. So those little bits. All right. What else we got to do? I wanted to have something in the floor in the middle. So I'm thinking maybe we could do this one. Shift D, escape. Move this up here. Oops. So what I'm thinking of this, just some little element in the middle there, but obviously remember we don't want to stick it out the ground so that we can trip over these things because that would be very annoying. So we're going to try and make this like really subtle. And we got the roof. All right, let's turn that off. Let's go up from the top here. All right, now try and get this in the middle. G. Just sort of work out where I want that to go. And then just come in here. Probably pretty close. Because I think there's like even a shadow under that. But just putting that into the ground. Just like really subtle, you know. But that's going to give us some nice little details there. And Shift D, escape. Shift D, escape. Just some little ones over to the side as well. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that sits. Whatever. Delete. Don't like it. Don't like it. But I think that's looking pretty cool in the middle. And then you can go through with all your, you know, if you want to add extra like details on here and everything, you can, and muck around with the original like floor sheet of stuff and yeah, all that type of thing, right? Which is pretty cool. Let's maybe try and add some like cables and stuff into this like kind of doorway. I think that could look nice. Just give us some other little overlaps and things. So what we want to do there is maybe some of those cables come out of where? Out of here. All right, so let's go Shift A, Mesh Cube. Because remember, the first thing I like to do is just be able to almost like, you know, paint those cables on a cube. Right, so we want them kind of like coming out of this little section here. And we're going to have to add some like ends to the cables and stuff as well. But where are they going to go? I'm not sure yet. Yeah, so they just kind of come up in here, right? So then I'm going to shift right click on the cube that I just put in there. And then let's shift A, mesh, shift A, curve, Bezier curve. All right, tab in, delete, dissolve vertices. All right, we're going to go to the front, and probably what I should do. Oh, I tapped into that. Yes, probably what I should do. Oh, I just realized I did a curve there. All right. Probably what I should do is the more of this stuff that we have showing, the more it's going to like kind of wrap onto those surfaces, right? So I need to hide some of this stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to go everywhere. So um, Shift A, curve, Bezier curve, tab in, delete, dissolve vertices. All right, we're going to select the draw. We're going to hit N on the keyboard. We're going to make sure that it's on the surface. And then I'm going to come down to the little green icon here and make this depth 0.05. Let's just try. Let's draw something on here. All right, so we want that much smaller. 0. Let's try that 1. So maybe it's somewhere in, maybe it's like, let's make it, let's try 3 first. Yeah, I think that's probably good. All right, so oops. So you can see as soon as I do that, it starts like going over other bits. So let's just kind of stop it before it goes like too crazy. It's sort of already getting a bit crazy there, but that's okay. That'll do for now. I think that's pretty cool. All right, so we've got that. And then let's try and just fix some of this stuff up a little bit. So just tab out of that. All right, let's delete the cube, delete that, Alt H, bring everything back, turn that fog off again. Otherwise it'll be a pain in the butt when we're selecting things. Tab into this one, we've got all the curve there. So we're just kind of arranging it now. So let's just select. So that one, we just want to move that up. Move that up. We want it to like kind of disappear into the stuff. All right. Let's get that one. Gonna do the same thing. We want it to sort of like disappear up there somewhere. Same with this one here. Yep, and you can even like, if you want it to come out further, remember you can just go E, extrude, and it will just bring out more. I might see what I've selected there. Let's like delete, dissolve vertices, get rid of some of these. Delete, dissolve vertices. All right, there's some like funky stuff. Delete, dissolve vertices. All right, so there we go. Now we got the single one there. So if we extrude out of that one, there we go. So that will just kind of like, yeah, extrude it up there somewhere in the ceiling. And obviously you can come down here and let's get that one and just fiddle around and make those like a bit of a nicer curve, right? So you can control all of that stuff. Delete, dissolve vertices, get rid of some of that warping there. What do we want to do? That's kind of actually sort of interesting how it like wraps around there a bit. Yeah, but just make it so it actually does wrap around that bit. It's kind of interesting how it goes through that bit. It sort of looks like it should do that, which is pretty cool. All right, let's maybe just delete that one. Dissolve vertices, there we go. That's sort of wrapping over there a little bit better. Maybe just delete that. All right, and you can just kind of like smooth those things out and then just move them into the wall. You know, get all the curves sort of happening. Just clicking them, hitting G, just moving them around. Yeah, sweet. And it looks pretty cool. So it just starts giving a bit of an organic kind of nature to some of this stuff, which is really cool. So we can tab out of that. Let's also give it a material. Let's make it the black frame one. Yeah, sweet. That's pretty cool. And you can obviously do your whole, you know, Vitaly Bulgarov impression as much as you want, where you could add little, you know, you could UV textures and stuff like onto these cables if you wanted to, right? Which is obviously really cool. You can put little hazard strips and I don't know, whatever else. What's the difference between black frame? one and black frame. Nothing probably. Just me duplicating stuff randomly. All right, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's do a couple more cables, right? Let's really sort of deck this out. Like this is sort of the big, sort of brain hub of the operation here. So let's have a few kind of cables coming out of this one too. So let's click on this, right? Shift A, mesh, cube. All right, sort of shrink that down a bit if we need to. Let's move it in. Just get it sitting where you want those cables to be coming out of. So somewhere there. All right, and then if I wanted to, I could make this bigger and stuff, but yeah. Where's that cube? So it's probably in here somewhere. Million. Housekeeping. I just wanted to hide that for a second because I was like, where did I want those to go? All right. So let's draw these ones in. So let's hide that. Right, hide that. Hide that. Anything that's just going to sort of get in the way. I think we're pretty good now. So then shift right click on that one. All right, very good. And let's shift A, curve, BZ curve, tab in, delete, dissolve vertices, drawing, click the little thing. What was it? Then you go down to the depth, 0.03. That's what we had. Make sure it's on the surface, and then let's draw some stuff. So for a cable up there. Oh, and what else do I want to do? Draw a cable like around there, and maybe there's one that sort of goes like that. All right, cool. And then tab out of that, delete that one. All right, and then let's just try and sort these out without unhiding stuff first, because otherwise that might get a bit problematic. Then we'll unhide everything. We might need to double up on some things, but that's okay. All right, so let's go back to the move tool. Click that one, the one in the middle, G, that'll just let me move it. And you can see it's not like far enough in there yet. So let's sort of put it in so it's not kind of like clipping through. And we might need to come up with some sort of like little cable connector kind of bits. It feels like there's multiple points down here. So just delete, dissolve vertices. You can even just, if you want to know where it ends, just delete, dissolve vertices. See? And that one's like that was the right one, right? So now you can just grab that one and go G and just move that in there too, right? And just make it kind of sit in here. All right, and what have we got? Let's make sure that one really goes behind. So let's delete, dissolve that vertice. That's cool. Let's make sure, I'm not sure what's going on there. Seems like weird stuff. What's going on? Delete, dissolve vertices. All right, let's like just pull this one out a bit. What's that one there? Delete. Oh, is that the one underneath, maybe? Is that on the cable? Yeah, okay. All right, so let's grab that guy there. Sort of move that out, just get that curve working a little bit better. Probably no one's ever going to see this one in here, but, grab that one, just move that in a little bit. Just try to have them so they're not like cutting through each other, right? Obviously that's not very realistic. Just grab that. Let's put that one in there. All right, still delete that one. Don't need that extra one there. All right, let's see, we can sort of extend that one a bit and just make a better curve. With those things. Yep. Now I know that we can see this part, so may just want to push this in so we don't have it cutting through there. Now where's that one? that over there. Yep, cool. All right, so material, black frame. All right, let's tab out that. Okay, Alt H, bring all of that stuff back. Now we got to remember go up here. Actually, we just type this in. Fog, turn that fog off. All right, and then look at this mess we've got. All right, so that's not quite working how I wanted it to. Maybe it's not going to work. I kind of don't mind it in some bits. All right, so it's this. So tab into that one. So we're just going to get all this stuff like working a bit better, right? So sometimes if you're never sure where things are, you can just sort of select them like that, right? And then we can kind of move everything out. Just get that. Let's get that curve. You know, a little bit smoother, a bit more kind of natural. Got some other stuff going on there. What have we got? What's this one doing here? Where are you? There, so pulling that one out. Just making that curve a little bit better. Now it's cutting through here. Now I made it black. I can't see what I'm doing. Just make it. Let's make it grey just for a second. All right, let's see if we can push that one back in. Maybe this one down a bit and across a bit. Oh, pretty good. All right, it feels like it's almost kind of working there. Delete, dissolve vertex. Let's grab this one, G. Let's move that around a bit. Always kind of fiddling around with some of this stuff. I think it could also be cool if maybe we could add in, like we can, oops, let's change that back to the black frame one that's actually black. Cool. Yeah. All that stuff's looking pretty cool. And maybe we can do like some other kind of cables, which could be pretty cool. Like maybe get in some blue, you know, almost like sort of Ethernet type of cables that are really like kind of sheeted around and stuff. Let's see if we can do that. So we might need to hide a few things to like do this. All right. Let's have a think. So what do we want to do here? Maybe there. Sorry, let's go back to the camera. Just think about where these are going. Maybe we could kind of have some hanging down here too. Do this in a couple of places. All right, so what do I do? Let's go right click kind of here, Shift A, Mesh, Cube. Yeah, and like I said, these are all just the little finishing details. But you can kind of go on and on and on with this stuff. It's literally where you kind of like, where your brain just goes, I've had enough. I've had enough of doing things, adding stuff in. All right, so I just want a couple of little simple ones, right? Maybe they wrap over here. Sorry, just thinking about how I want them to kind of flow in. So let's just get to it. So shift right click on the cube. All right, Shift A, curve, Bezier curve, tab in, delete, dissolve vertices. These ones are going to be skinnier, so let's 0.01. All right, and we're going to make sure that we're doing this on the surface. Pretty good. All right, so let's have it. Let's just try and keep it relatively simple for now. Just sort of draw it around there like that, and something like that. All right, so awesome. That was easy. So we're just going to go in, delete this, and then we've got this cable here. Now let's make it just so we know what we're doing. Let's, with this one, let's click on it. Let's go to the materials. Do I have blue materials? Probably not. So let's just make like a blue kind of plasticky material, like sort of Ethernet kind of cable style. Right, something like that. So it's a bit different. And we're going to go kind of nuts with this, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to tab in. And what you can do is you can grab the whole thing, right? The whole curve, BZ curve, right? And you go Shift D, escape, and that will actually duplicate that, just like it will with other geometry, if we can navigate around and find what we're doing here. Hey Josh, how you going? I'm going great. Just you know, modeling stuff. Right, and what I want to do with this one here is like, let's just move some of these points, right? But just a touch, just ever so slightly, just so you know we get a bit of variation there, right? Also, what I might want to do kind of quickly is I want this to kind of like fit through all the way over there. So let's select that one. Let's go E and just drag one out over there somewhere. Now I got to work out which one that did without. Oh, awesome, Josh. That sounds pretty cool. Um, yeah, I'd love to see it, Josh. Send it over to me. Or put it, are you in our Discord? Like, yeah, maybe Ray, can you put a link to our Discord? And yeah, just put it up on the Discord, Josh, and love to see what it's looking like. So I'm gonna sorry, floor, walls, no, roof. Where'd I put that? Under control panel somewhere. There we go. Okay, we've got what? All right, you already are, Josh. Very good. Yeah, post it up. Oh gosh, can't navigate around there. All right, we could hide stuff, but whatever. Can't bother. Get lazy. All right, let's go E. Extrude that one out. Oh, over there somewhere as well. And let's move that across. Very cool. So now we got these sort of like cable ribbons running across here. And then also what I'm going to do is grab both of these ones. Pretty sure I can do both at the same time. Let's have a look. E, there we go. And just move them over there somewhere so they kind of go through. Cool. And then what we can do is we can kind of tab out of this. I'm just wondering on how to do this. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave them as curves. Hopefully this will be all right. Yeah, let's leave them in curves and keep duplicating. Maybe that will. So let's just hover over these and hit L, and then hit L over that one, and I'll select all of those, right? And then let's do Shift D, escape, and like just trying to randomly move these a bit. All right, so we kind of got like that. Let's move in a little bit more. And let's hit L and L, and they'll just keep selecting them. Shift D, escape. Right, we can even like grab some points randomly and just like move them around, you know. Grab some of these ones. Yep. Just move around a little bit. You don't have to do much for them to feel, you know, quite different. Then we've got some sort of cables kind of running through there, which is pretty cool. All right, so what I might do is like grab that and go Shift D, escape, and go to the front mode and R90. And we can kind of have like some cables sort of running down here. Maybe we could like just rotate these a little bit, because rather than them just looking completely side on. All right, something like that. And then what we could do is we could grab this and just scale them. And maybe move these. Shift D, escape. Got to see where they're kind of going into the floor and stuff as well. So over here a bit more. Get them in that gap. So you can see these ones probably need to be moved over a little bit as well. All right, and then let's grab this stuff. So that one, and let's go Shift D, escape. Let's go to the front mode and Control M, X, flip all of that stuff. Move it across. It's gonna sit in there somewhere. You know, it doesn't have to be completely perfect. And you can go through and like kind of, yeah, you know, if you don't want these like 100% symmetrical or whatever, you can go, you know, kind of muck around with that, right? So let's go back and have a look. Let's Alt H. All right, go back to our camera. You know, unhide all our crazy stuff we've been hiding. All right, and then, yep, I'm just gonna do a save. Take a little bit. But yeah, now we've really got some of those like details really, you know, coming along, right? Yeah, which is pretty cool. And I mean, you can just keep duplicating and doing more and more of that stuff, you know, all over the place. So when this saves, could be really cool. Like if we had Shift D, escape, and then can we just put some of these like down here somewhere? That could be pretty cool. Let's toggle all our gizmos. And, you know, maybe these ones we could, oops, sorry, turn that back on. Shift D, escape. Let's have more of them. They're kind of going into the ground in a bit of a weird spot there, but we can fix that up. Add some sort of little plate or whatever, some connection bit, if you wanted to. But yeah, some of those details are really what like really pulls the whole kind of like image together. So I guess at the start we were doing it from like, you know, a bit more of a diagram sort of standpoint, right? Like I'll show you what I mean by that. Is like, let's see. I'll just copy that, bring it to Photoshop. All right. So that's where it started, right? So this was just the initial design of, you know, kind of roughly what I wanted it to be. So you can see like I've got the, you know, the door and the kind of like control panel element and these sort of like D-shaped, you know, bits and sort of the pillars, and like that just sparks the initial kind of design, and then you can start, you know, running from there. And like I said, you know, then we made it where it's like started actually giving it, you know, some stairs and some, you know, the box bits and yeah, all those types of things. So yeah, it's you can take it quite a bit further. So if we do like, I'm just going to do a quick little render here. When I say quick, give it 20 seconds. All right. Just move that out here and zoom up a bit. All right. So yeah, I mean, once again, this is just like the kind of the Eevee render. Um, you could obviously like take this into cycles and things as well. Um, but yeah, I think that's coming along really well. And I think as well, one of the things I'm going to do now is like let's just delete all these guys here. I've actually got like some kind of military, um, like kind of 3D scan people that you can get. I mean, you can go on like Sketchfab. You can go on, yeah, like three. I don't know what the website is, but if you type in like 3D scan people, you can find different packs of things that then you can have like little characters that you can add into your scene, which could be really pretty cool, rather than our generic naked man, which might look a little bit better. Um, yeah, so you could do that, but uh, there isn't too many other things that I kind of wanted to do. Um, maybe we could just add a few more little um, kind of pipes is the wrong word. Little metal railings and things that could be kind of cool, just to like give some extra kind of depth to the space. So, but really simple. So, um, what do we want to do? Let's just click. I want to add them in. Let's just do some over here. See if I can find that spot. Turn our gizmos back on here. All right. Shift A. Mesh. Cylinder. All right. Just rotate that around here. Hold down Control. Snap it to the 90. So top left, that tells you the rotation there. Shrink that down. Shrink, 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 shrink. Keep going. So maybe they could be like this material. Link that material. Maybe. Not sure yet, but we'll see. Oops. Just click on that one. All right. Push that through. Oops. Was it snapping? All right. Just want to shrink them down. Sort of pull it forward a little bit. Shrink it down. Just remember that scale of things is really important. So I think if they're too much bigger than the rail size, they seem a bit kind of strange. But let's go Shift D, escape. Move that one down. Shift D, escape. Maybe that one's closer to the other one. All right, making sure they're not like cutting through anywhere kind of stupid. Right. They're kind of, it's intersecting these cables a little bit. So Shift D, escape. Some more of those. Could even flip it or like rotate it, I suppose. So if we go to the front mode, rotate 180. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Got those. Shift D, escape. It sometimes looks cool when you just have heaps of these around. That's cool. Got those rails here. We can let's go tab into that, right? Let's control R. Oops, what did I do? Escape, tab, control R. All right, let's add in a bunch of edge loops. I mean, this is way too many polys for what we need. Actually, you know what? Let's not do it like that. We'll do it like that. Something like that, all right? Oops, yep, that'll do. And then control R, add in another one. And like, let's just do that. I just want to make these things like just not quite the same, uniform everywhere. So maybe over here, control R. Sorry, what I mean by that is not just yellow everywhere, right? So, and then let's do toggle X-ray mode. Maybe try and come back to the front and grab this. And this one. And there was another one hidden around here somewhere. Over here, maybe. All right. And let's do a new material and make that like black frame and assign that. Oops, and we didn't do anything. What did I do? Why isn't that working? Oops. That makes no sense. Tab in. What did I do? Why is that not working? Let's try on this one here. New material. Black frame. Assign. Works fine. Makes no sense. It's not a curve or anything weird. Not that that would really matter, but it's saying it's that one. Why is that? Why are you not working? I don't know. Anyway, let's try it here. Just like those ones. Oops. Sorry. New material. Black frame. Assign. That's what I was trying to do. Now I don't want to do that for all of those. You should have made them duplicates. Anyway. All right, let's undo that. Okay, let's get back to these ones. Grab that one, that one, that one. Control J. I just want to have a look in the camera view for that. All right, Shift D, escape. Let's go to the front. Get those going through there. Make sure they're not kind of like cutting or doing anything sort of weird. All right, the other thing I want to do was like do this one with sort of the trim sheet. So let's just shift click that wall there, Control L, link those materials, and there we go. And like instantly, it's just got something a bit more interesting on that face there. And so we can do that with this part here, I think, as well. So shift click on there, Control L, link those materials. Oh no, because that's the actual. I see. Yeah, if I do that on there, it's going to do it to everything, isn't it? But maybe we want to do that. Can we assign that to there? Let's tab in L. Tab out that. It's cool. That's good. Let's tab into this one. L. New material. Make it the trim sheet one. Scroll. What was it? Trim sheet floor? Was that it? Assign. Maybe not in there. Let's undo that. Okay, cool. But that sort of breaks up that top one a little bit. Yeah. Nice. All right. What we need to do here, we need to make some little piece. Shift D, escape. So something those cables kind of go into. Just something there like that. I think that'll be pretty cool. All right. Running out of things to do now. Playing around with those lights there. What else? Maybe add Shift D, escape. Add a light in front of the doors. I made that like 5. See how that sort of looks with the fog. It's cool. Gives like a bit of a reflection in there. It's kind of nice. Yeah, that door's looking pretty cool with some of these indents and stuff as well. Maybe we could also add that kind of light material maybe into the door. Turn that fog off again. Otherwise, we can never select anything up here. Door, tab. Number 3 on the keyboard. Oh, toggle X-ray mode off. That one. That one. I. Let's do one there. And then remember we went E, S. All right, and then I add the material. Oh god, what was it called? That one? Probably call that light. A sign. Cool. So let's go in here. Select that one. Select that one. I. What else can we do? Let's like grab that. Here, number 2 on the keyboard. All right. Can we do this along the local? Is that going to work? Maybe. So it's the red one. Yeah. No. It's mucking around with the geo. Whatever. Let's go Control R and just add an edge loop in there. And then maybe grab that one. Hit number 3. I. E. S. Assign that material into that one. So it's the front one. I can't remember what I'm doing. I. E. S. We don't have to be like crazy accurate with that, right? Because it's not going to be able to tell. But that's cool. I got some little lights around there. Yeah, and obviously, you can break up all this surface all you want as well, right? So, sometimes you want it flat, sometimes you want it textured. Do we tab into this and maybe this material is, maybe we change this to the trim sheet one? I don't know if this is going to work. Hang on. Yeah, and then we can come down to the right, and then you can have a bit of extra details and stuff along there. Maybe, maybe not. I think it's cool like that. But yeah, you can just go through and keep sort of adding details, breaking up the surfaces, the shapes, adding textures, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, try, lots of bevels. The more bevels you have, the more kind of like sci-fi. The more bevels you have. That's a pretty broad statement. um, but yeah. All right, that's what else I was going to do. Run some of these. Shift D, escape. Let's just go to the top, rotate 90. Oh, where are we? Somewhere there, hopefully. Let's move this. Somewhere there. You gotta be careful with like this sort of stuff here, where these intersect. Doesn't look great. Oops. So maybe these just go from this one here. We can get those sitting out in a better spot anyway. All right, let's go back to the front mode here. Shift D, escape. And there's a pillar here, and they kind of sit in there. cool. Let's go back to the camera. Maybe we need a couple. 50, escape. Rotate. 90. Less tall. Go back to the camera. Move down. Yeah, just something that makes it feel a bit more kind of like structural there or whatever. Thinking. Thinking I don't like them. Thinking I kind of like those going more vertically. Oops. Go. Camera view. Maybe now they're black when they go that way. I don't know. Oops. Click on the right thing. Changing my mind. Always find it's the last little 5% that always takes the longest. That stuff. That's cool. Maybe we can grab these. See if duplicating some of these will be useful as well. I'm not sure. But let's find out. Except they need to fit up in here. Yeah. Need to hide the walls again. Unhide the walls. Alt H, bring everything back. Go back to the camera. Yeah, that's looking pretty cool. I mean, you can even go into adding like little textures on here and stuff, right? So you can just, yeah, I mean, you can just go as crazy as you want to on all these things. Just like I said, right now, it's just really getting into all of those details and everything and just refining things as much as you possibly can. The other thing we kind of do is like you could add in, so I know that I've got like this camera here, right? So we've got this camera. And if I go up here and had my scene a bit more organized, we've then got this camera, which is, place this in there pretty early on. But there was I was kind of messing around a bit earlier and thought, oh, there's actually some other like pretty cool kind of views. So maybe what I might do is go back to this other camera here, go back to the camera mode and hit N, go to view, sorry, camera to view. And let's just rotate this around, maybe zoom out a little bit. Just want to have a look at this camera here. Why? Hang on. Just want to see how. Yeah, I need to zoom that in a little bit more. Lock it to view. Hold down Control, middle mouse wheel. That'll kind of like zoom in a bit. Yeah, so we've got that one. Turn that off. And then toggle out. And then could do Shift A. Camera. And then another camera. Right, so, oops. And undo that. Right. Shift A. Camera. Oh, it's putting it in that. It's putting it in here. Out here. All right, there we go. So now we've got this other one. So click on that one. Get the camera view. Lock that camera. Unlock it just so we can get it to frame the whole thing, kind of thing. So down Control, see how far we can go back. Not as far as I'd hoped. But yeah, and you can kind of hunt around and find some cool views. Maybe we can go. So let's make that like 25 mil. There we go. Now we can sort of do a cool little top-down shot. Be good if those went in the way. We can just hide them. Cool. So then, yeah, then you got like a few different little camera views, right? And you could render those out. And if you wanted to get like super creative, you could do like a little fly through animation, things like that. But yeah. Now I'm sort of running out of things to do. Let's just because this bugs me a little bit. Let's do some little connector bits here. Mesh cylinder. Let's rotate this. Yeah, any questions, guys? I'm pretty much done. I hope it's sort of been kind of interesting to kind of see the whole process from start to finish. Kind of see where you get it, where you can kind of take it to, because a lot of times, like in class demos, you don't really have time to spend and get things kind of resolved. And you can see there's definitely like a point in the middle where everything sort of like looks a bit rough for a while, you know. But I think what happens over time is you develop a bit of a process, and you know from doing it um, on a number of occasions that like everything will sort of be okay. And I think like when you're a student or starting out or whatever, that can be pretty overwhelming, that part. Um, sorry, talking talking while doing this. Yeah, some of that part can be pretty overwhelming, right? So yeah, you just gotta like stick at it. Stick at it. Yes. So just making these little connector pieces. Um, let's give that a material. Let's just delete that one. Now I've done that. Let's go back into this one. Right click, shade, smooth. Go down to the normals, auto smooth. That'll make that look cool. All right, Shift D, escape. Go back to sorting this one out. Yeah, so there was definitely like a point in time where it was like, I hope this is gonna go okay. But most of the time, it's just like, oh, I just need to spend more time. I just need to spend more time like trying to get this to work out. Right? And that's kind of what it is. Just want to make sure that that's right. Yeah, we can't see those other ones, but yeah, just having a bit of a connection point there kind of helps that a bit. I hid those other ones over there. Let's hide that one too. Let's delete that. All right. Alt H. Yeah, I think it was those. Whatever. Let's delete that. Not required. Not required anymore. Not making the cut. Um. Yeah, and depending on how 3D or 2D you want your workflow to kind of be, because I don't know, I still really consider myself like a 2D artist, but I'm kind of do this 3D kind of stuff. um but you can then take this into Photoshop, and paint over. So a lot of times I'll have students, they'll be like, oh, but I wanted to do something here that's on an angle and I couldn't work it out. And I'm like, well, are you 3D or 2D? And they're like, oh, I'm 2D. I'm like, well, just take that into Photoshop and just paint on top. So yeah, you can kind of do those things as well. Um, yeah, what else? I think we're pretty much done. I've still got those curves that I'm sort of using there. That's cool. That looks pretty good. So let's go back to the camera view. Yeah, this one here like sort of bugs me a bit because it's this bit's right in the way of the door. Because kind of the door's sort of the focal point. So it just annoys me a little bit. However, it would be nice to sort of have one from around that angle. Maybe we just need to do a bit more of that kind of action. Always turn that off so you don't stuff up your camera. It's the worst thing ever. Camera 1, camera 2. Let's call this one camera 3. Yeah, and then you can just do your. Should we? I'm a bit scared to flick it over to cycles in the stream. I'd be interested to see what this looks like in cycles, because sometimes like a lot of your lights and stuff will kind of mess up and be slightly different. Um, but it would be interesting to see. But I'm not going to do it in the stream because using cycles in the streams is not an advised pathway to travel, because yeah, it does tend to like just lag out the stream and crash it and stuff. Oh, I can see here we got some janky bits up there, don't we? Come on. All right, so See if we can move that around. Probably both of those. Oops. No. You. No. No. Come on. Ah. 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 That one. And nope. Come on. And oh, still got fog turned on. Oh man, so annoying. That one and that one. There we go. Let's move back in there a bit. Maybe it just needs to move down. It's good. Yeah, you just always got to watch for those weird, kind of tangents and things. Let's make those. I think the grey is better. Maybe. All right, save. Could do. Let's try one other thing as well. Like I'll just show you because I don't know if I've showed this, but we could also. We just saved, so that's good. Are we? View, align view, center view cursor. Sure, in the window. All right. What I was thinking was, can we? I don't know if this is going to work either, but with this one here, let's do a modifier and do a subdivision surface. All right, and that's working really well, isn't it? Let's get down to auto smooth. So maybe this is not going to work. Yeah, that's either way. That's not going to be good. Okay, let's not do that. Undo. We hit 2. I was thinking potentially about beveling this, but I don't. This is not going to work very well. No. All right. Whatever. Certainly wasn't the end of the world. I was just thinking about that. Okay. Also, show you a few little things you can do. Just let's go Alt H. All right, let's pretty much just call this done, right? And then let's go and do these renders. So let's do this camera. Let's go render image. It's like it's doing sort of like very flat dash stuff. We've got that one, and then you can go image, save as. This is all you have to do to save these out. Just make a folder, renders. Oops, caps lock. All right, and let's we can save it as whatever, like a TIFF or something is pretty good, right? We could have it as like a 16-bit TIFF. We could have none for the compression, right? And then we can save. And I'll show you something else in a minute. So when I do this, right, that's 100% and that's 200%, right? So as we zoom in, it's going to get like soft, okay? But I'll show you how you can kind of fix this. So if we go over to here, all right, and we need some, go to the little printer box. You can see that the resolution is 1920 by 1080, right? So we need our little get our calculator up, and you can just do some maths. So 1920 times 2, right? So 3840, and obviously 2160. All right, that's going to be double the size. And then you can keep, you can do whatever, right? You can make whatever size you want. And you can even change if you can change the aspect ratio around and all sorts of things. So if I type in like 5,000 here, all right, you'll see that this camera, oops, hang on, sorry, in the camera mode, all right, see that will change, right? So now it's like really wide. So if I change that back, it goes back to the widescreen res or whatever. So that's how you can up res those renders. So if you've ever been like, oh, it's like looking blurry, like what's going on? Well, it's just because you're just rendering it out at 1920 by 1080. So if we go to render now, it's probably going to take longer. Yeah, yeah. What's crazy is that I remember doing 3D, right? And I started out using this program called 3ds Max, which is still around. And it used to probably, like, you were just looking at gray. It was just gray all the time, right? Whenever you want to look at things in color, you had to render it out. And now we've got this stuff in Eevee, which is like kind of like real time, right? And the viewports and everything is just incredible. So I remember you used to move like a rail or whatever, and then you have to hit render, and you'd wait like 4 hours for it to render. So you go out and do something else or work on something else, and then you'd be like, oh god, I need to move it 2 more pixels up that way. It's not quite right. You move it 2 more pixels, hit render, wait another 4 hours. So it was a very slow going process. This is super fast. But yeah, so obviously now this is like double the res. Yep. So it's like a lot higher res, and you can obviously keep, you can make it 10,000 pixels, whatever you want to do, right? So let's go image, save as. Let's just override that one. 16-bit. Let's make it a TIFF, right? Let's have no compression, right? And we want to, will it let me save over it? I guess so. And then we're going to save over that, right? And then we've got that one. And then we can go back to the other, make the other camera active. So if I just click on it, that won't help. You got to click on the little camera icon. That'll make that one active. All right. And I'm pretty sure none of this will change, right? So then we just go back to render image, and hopefully it will render the active camera that we've got. So we'll get the other one, right? The other angle. And then you can go through and you could, sometimes I know, people do like all different, render out a whole bunch of different angles, then work out which one's the one they want to present. And you could have different, different stuff, or you could put like a few different things together. So if you're showing a client, you could be like, here's a few different angles, of this scene or whatever the case may be. So yeah, very super good because it's really powerful and really fast. So let's just call this camera 2. Save that one out. All right, close this one down. Make this one the active camera. Render image. Where we go again. If we were in cycles, this would be taking much longer. Would be cool if we put some people in here. That would kind of look pretty cool. Maybe I have to do that another time. Image. Save as. TIFF. Camera 3. takes a bit. Save image. All right, then we've got those. So I've got all that. All right, let's do one last save. And I'll open up Photoshop and just show you a few little things you could do just to kind of, yeah, make it all a little bit better. But yeah, any questions or anything so far? You guys are good. I don't know if anyone's been following along. How can we need to like do something on Instagram or something where you tag tag the stream or something, and you've been following along over the last few weeks doing an interior. All right, so we've got the renders here. So if we open these up, a TIFF is probably the closest thing to like a Photoshop file, right? That you're going to get out of Blender in terms of the, having something really nice res, right? So we've got these open here now. So yeah, looking awesome. Let's set this to black. Yeah, pretty cool. Considering where we kind of started. Remember our crappy little sketch? Doesn't look like that anymore. So yeah, very cool. All right, so I feel like I've just been looking at this one for too long, so the others are like more exciting. But yeah, whatever. I feel like this one probably displays all the stuff better. And for example, because I've rendered this out at a decent size, right? We can you could maybe even like I might even want to sort of crop into this a bit, because the stairs down there are probably getting a bit boring, so we could just move this around. All right, crop that. We're still plenty big enough. And the other thing is like we can go image size, right? And we can start to maybe make that like 4,000 pixels. Make it a bit bigger, right? Now I'm not super duper worried if it goes a little bit softer in some areas, because we're going to kind of fiddle around with that as well, right? So here's some little tricks and things I do to like 3D renders to get them looking pretty cool. So what we could do is we could just soften up some of these areas, right? So let's do obviously this part needs to be kind of in focus, right? And sort of like this part needs to be in focus, and this part and this part. So I'm just thinking about the, oh, sorry, yeah, we need that. We need those cables, otherwise they're probably going to look a bit weird. We could do something like that. Let's like chop into this. All right, and then what I'm going to do is let's go, let's right click on this and feather this selection. Let's make it like 50 pixels and go Control Shift C, Control V. And then we basically have like a little selection over here that's got a soft edge. And then, oh, I did it wrong because I don't want that. Oh, actually, you know what? We could just blur the whole, nah, hang on. Hold on. Oops. So edit, redo feather. Control Shift I, because I want to select everything else. Control Shift C, Control V. All right. Now we've got like the background bits. You can see the background bits. And then we're just going to go filter, blur, Gaussian blur. All right. And just, we can, whoop, we can make all that blur, right? Maybe not that much. But maybe just a little bit. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Just a little bit of blur there. So we're really trying to control the viewer to like look kind of at the focal point, right? And then the other thing we can do is we can do like a selection. So we want there to be, kind of this main area of contrast, right? So let's select around here. Let's do a feathered selection again. All right, Control Shift C, Control V. And our eye really likes contrast. So the most contrasty areas where we'll kind of look. So let's get image, adjustments, brightness, contrast. Always click use legacy. And then, yeah, just add a bit more like contrast to that area. You can still make it like brighter, so it doesn't necessarily get like too dark with the contrast, but you can really kind of like push that. The other thing you can do sometimes is we could try also in that area, filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. All right, an unsharp mask will kind of just sharpen up some of these bits. So let's make that 100, and let's make this like 1.2. And sometimes a bit hard to tell. Oops. But you can see that, yeah, everything just looks like a little bit clearer kind of there. And we could also do some other things like where, I don't want to paint too much on this, just a little bit. So we make a black layer. So make this black, set this to color dodge. Then what we could do is get a brush. Come on, you know you want to. B for brush. All right, soft brush. All right, and let's select this blue and paint on like 10%. And we can just add a few little more glowies. Some of these bits, so just a tiny bit of painting, right? But you see how you can really pull the eye, you know, into that kind of area, right? And we could do a bit of like, sort of a bit of, you know, vignetting as well, right? Where we could just with the airbrush. So none of this is like super duper painting. So if you're like a 3D artist and you're like, oh, I don't know how to paint stuff. Let's maybe make this like 20% opacity up here. Right, and just darkening off some of those edges so our eye doesn't kind of get kind of thrown out, doesn't go out of the composition there. So just some of those things, right? You can do a bit of that. So it just tinkers around with that image a bit. Yep. It's pretty cool. And then you can, you know, always got like, so in Blender there, we had like the curves and things. So you've got your curves. So we can go back to curves. And we can kind of mess around with everything. You know, we could make stuff, you know, lighter, darker, you know, all those sorts of things. We can be like, we want a bit less red, make it like a lot bluer. Can mess around with some of that stuff too. You know, more red. I was pretty happy with the colors of where they're at. Mostly because I sort of adjusted it in Blender, right? With these curves, but there's some cool stuff. And you just like toggle on and off. I always feel like I'm always like forever doing this stuff. I kind of like it where it was. Yeah. But you've got your curves and you can muck around with the colors. You know, sometimes even you can get kind of color variation as well. So you could do things like this, right? We could be like, we want this bit to be really blue in the middle. So let's right click and feather that like maybe 100. Right, and go Control Shift I, invert. All right, and then do curves on this, curves. So now it's just going to affect the outside bit, hopefully. Yep. So then you can sort of make bits darker. You know, a bit sort of grayer, warmer or whatever. But if I do that, I kind of want it darker. Yeah, and you can mess around with things like that, right? Just little Photoshop stuff, and then you can sort of muck around with the opacity. But I feel like doing a little blur and stuff over the edges is something that really does add to that like sort of realism, you know, of the image. Because normally when you look at stuff, it's like when you get out of 3D, it's just all like completely flat unless you're kind of mucking around with like depth and field and stuff in Blender, which you can do that too. But yeah, for me, I just kind of muck around with that in Photoshop. But yeah, so so what do we got? So that's one we messed around with. Then we haven't touched these, but you can see how, you know, if I just kind of mucked around with these ones here, you know, they look pretty cool. Like I said, especially this one, I feel like if I had a character in here, they'll look really cool. Yeah, so maybe I'll have a go at that in my own time. Just find some little 3D scan people or whatever and throw them in. I think I've got a pack somewhere, so that should be relatively easy. Yeah, but you can see how much more like punchier this one is, right? Just from sort of doing all those adjustments. You always got to be careful you don't get it like too dark, you know, don't want to be going to black anywhere. But yeah, just a few of those adjustments can really just take your, you know, Eevee render to really feeling a bit more like cycles, right? So yeah, it's just remember this is basically real time. Yep. And then just adding that little render on top. But yeah. I mean, I think that's it. I was doing like a last stream because I was like, I had some details that I wanted to do, and it was mostly some of this stuff. And I think, you know, having some of those cables and things in is pretty cool. Really adds a bit of like interest to the scene too. So yeah, the only thing I think is maybe we could have some sort of like little rack here that like holds these cables up, whatever. They float around a bit at the top. It's just not necessarily, you know, like you got to make things feel believable. Sort of just float around here. But I think you'd get away with it, but I think it could be that could just add that other little level of realism. But yeah, I think we'll just kind of call that done for the stream. And like I have been saying throughout the stream is that you know, I've got this from kind of start to finish. So if you do want to go back, check out our YouTube page, and you can you know, see all the streams from the start, and you know, follow along and tag us if you do some sci-fi interiors. All right, guys. But yeah, we'll call that a day on this one, and hopefully I can see you around in another stream in the future. Okay. Bye, guys.